Hey guys, welcome back to another week of NFL Bell. You guys might see something familiar here. We don't have Lou Betcha in the house with us right now, but he may pop in just a little bit. Hopefully, he's able to. If you guys haven't already, please like, comment, and subscribe. It helps out a lot. It supports me and it supports Lou. We appreciate every one of you guys week in and week out for the support, and we've been crushing it. Let's just be honest here, guys. Week in and week out, Lou and I have been given a lot of units, a lot of units. So let's go ahead and keep this train rolling. And let's start off with the first game, Thursday night football. We have the Jacksonville Jaguars against the New York Jets. The Jets are 2-point favorites. Now, this is taking me back to last week where we had the Jets as favorites as well over the Lions. And to be quite honest, I don't get it. Mike White is still injured. He's confirmed to be out of this game, and Zach Wilson's going to be the starter. And we know who Zach Wilson is. Even though he threw for 300 yards last game, which was pretty impressive, I'm not going to lie. I just don't believe in the guy. I don't think he can do it week in and week out. And we saw last week the Jaguars are pretty gritty against a very good defense in the Cowboys' defense. They scored a lot and they won. They scored 40 and they won in overtime. So I'm taking the Jaguars tomorrow plus the points. Right now it's at +2. I'm hoping we can climb to +2.5, maybe even +3. If we get to 2.5, I'll probably buy the hook just so I can get the push on the field goal. So I'll get a +3 line. I just think that the lines are swapped here. I think the Jaguars should be the favorite. In terms of props, I don't really like touching props with either of these teams because it's pretty inconsistent. Other than the Jaguars, where the person who gets the ball the most is probably going to be either Etienne or Christian Kirk on the receiving end. So if you were to target any props, I would look for the Christian Kirk yards, but keep in mind that he's going to be shadowed by Sauce Walker. So maybe not the most favorable matchup for him. But Etienne, I think Etienne could get a touchdown tomorrow. But let's see what that price is at because that's going to be key. Plus 115, which is not bad. I like Zonovan Knight from the Jets too. He's been proving week in and week out that he's been pretty efficient with his run game. But I don't trust the Jets. And if they're playing from behind, that's going to be out of the equation. So if I were to take a prop, it'll be Travis Etienne touchdown scorer or Christian Kirk touchdown scorer, which is a little bit juicier at plus 245. So yeah, that's what I have on this game. I'm sure Lou will be able to update you guys once he can about his picks. Maybe we'll do like a recap or something like that the day before, like on Friday night, if possible. But moving on to the next game, we have the Falcons at the Baltimore Ravens. The Baltimore Ravens are 7.5-point favorites, which indicates that Lamar Jackson is expected to be back in during this game. And you just never know what you can expect from a quarterback who is injured for a couple weeks on his first game back. You don't know what to expect on his performance. He could either go off because it's the Falcons. I mean, they don't have the best defense in the world. But he also could look pretty rusty. Who knows? The Falcons are sticking with Desmond Ritter here. So that's going to be tricky, to say the least, based off of his performance in week one. He had only 90 yards throwing, which not all that impressive. I wouldn't touch anything on the Falcons side. The moneymaker for me lately has been Justin Tucker over 1.5 field goals. Even though he didn't hit it last week, he had all the opportunities in the world. He made one, and then he had one blocked and one missed, I believe. So that hurt. But the week before and the week before that, it hit both times. So maybe I'll go ahead and I'll look towards the over 1.5 field goals for Justin Tucker here. Just safer, in my opinion, safest thing to do, and especially with Lamar Jackson, the offense is going to be rolling a little bit better, and if they can't get those key third downs, then Justin Tucker is going to be all over the place. So I would rather take the over 1.5 field goals here and just call it a day. Uh, I'm interested to see actually what we don't even have props available here. We only have team props. I would have been interested to see what the line is for the running back. What's his name? Dobbins. I wanted to see Dobbins rushing yards, but obviously we don't have those props up yet. So once those come out, take a look at them. I sure will myself because the Falcons have horrible defense. Next up, we have our beloved Detroit Lions at the Carolina Panthers. The Lions are 3-point favorites here against the Panthers, and you guys already know where I'm going with this. I'm going to be riding the Lions again. They haven't failed me yet. It's been 3 weeks in a row, I believe. I'm taking the Lions. I'm buying the hook, taking them at -2.5. This is Wiz's game of the week. It was his bet of the week. So, Lions, 2.5. Let's fucking go. Yeah, I think the Lions win here pretty comfortably against a poor Panthers defense. Panthers just haven't been all that impressive. DeAndre Swift, anytime touchdown scorer, is probably going to be something I'm looking at because Jamal Williams has been removed from this offense from like a bigger role, and they're starting to integrate Swift a little bit more. So I'll take that. And then also, if only I can see the prop for Amon-Ra St. Brown's receiving yards because that dude's a moneymaker week in and week out, and especially against the Panthers, I expect him to do big things. But we'll have to wait until those props come out once again. Next up, we have the Buffalo Bills at the Chicago Bears. The Bills are 8.5-point favorites, rightfully so. Last week they gave us a little bit of a scare with the Dolphins, but they ended up bringing home the bag in that teaser that we shouted out on the show. We had the Bills and the Eagles, so props to them. Thank you for the money. The Bills are going to be another teaser spot for me this week. I'll be taking a 6-point teaser, bringing this line down to 2.5, and I'll speak on the game where I'll be looking to tease it with shortly. But yeah, I think the Bills win pretty comfortably here. The Bears are, I believe they should just rest the quarterback, rest Fields. They got what they wanted out of him as loose as week in and week out. He showed big improvements year over year, and this year he took the biggest leap. So why risk the guy? Keep him for next year. Let him recover fully, and see if you can make a run next year with some more draft picks and some more high level players. Stephon Diggs' touchdown here is going to be automatic for me at +100. Poor secondary, and he hasn't had one in a little bit, so I'll be taking Diggs. Next up, we have the New Orleans Saints going against the Cleveland Browns in Cleveland. The Browns are 2.5-point favorites, and this game, to be honest, it has nothing to do with me at all. I'm staying far, far away from this game because you don't know what to expect with the Saints ever in the season, and it's proven week in, week out. The Browns, it just seems like they can't score that much, which is kind of frustrating. Deshaun Watson, they expected him to be this big playmaker, and he still hasn't shown anything. I know hasn't played for 2.5 years, but 3 games in, you would expect a little bit more from a guy that they paid so much money for. He also was able to train, so needless to say. I'm staying away from this. I expect the Browns to win. I think they should be able to cover their 2.5, but do I want to put my money on this and sweat? Probably not, because the Saints defense is pretty sturdy when it comes to these slower flowing offenses. And against the run, they're one of the better defenses, probably middle of the pack. So I can't really look to Chubb either. And it's not like they're even running them that much anyways. They're just keeping the ball in Watson's hands. So I'm completely staying away from this game. I have no interest whatsoever. Next up, we have the Seattle Seahawks against the Kansas City Chiefs. The Chiefs are 10-point favorites here. This is another one of those games where the Chiefs just don't really perform all that well as double-digit favorites this season. And Lou speaks about this a lot, where you can go back and check the track record where Chiefs have been double-digit favorites and they have not been able to cover the spread. Now, as a teaser spot, I don't mind it at all. I think it would be a decent teaser spot. Personally, I will probably lay off of it because I'm just not the biggest fan of the matchup. I think the Seahawks could maybe keep it a little bit closer than what people expect it to be. But all in all, I'm staying away from this game. If anything, I would probably look towards like a Kenneth Walker rushing yards. Although today the reports came out that he did not participate in practice, so keep an eye out for that. But yeah, going with that, if he's able to suit up in practice over the next couple of days, I think that's a pretty safe pick because the Chiefs' rushing defense is not all that good. So I would take the over on Kenneth Walker's rushing yards if he's healthy. Next up, we have the New York Giants going against the Minnesota Vikings. The Vikings are 4.5-point favorites. You guys know this. Me and Lou are big Giants fans. Huge win last week. We shouted out the bet on the show too, so that was another bet that cashed big for us. In this matchup, I kind of struggle to see the Giants keeping it close. I think the Vikings might be able to blow us out here. As sad as that is to say, I have hope in my team. I'm not going to be betting on this game because of that, but the Vikings are just better than us everywhere, unfortunately. And I think they could probably win by 10 points here. So if I were to take anything, it would be the Vikings spread, but I'm laying off of it because I don't really like to bet on my team all that often. Next game on the board, we have the Cincinnati Bengals going against the New England Patriots. The Bengals are 3-point favorites here, and I'm going to be buying the hook and taking the Bengals at 2.5. I know this is in Foxborough, but the Patriots have not shown anything promising at all over the past couple of weeks, especially that loss last week in the dying seconds of the game against the Raiders. That was horrible. My brother was at that game, and he's a big Patriots fan. And the look on his face after that game was just priceless. I hate the Patriots, if you guys didn't know. But yeah, I'm taking the Bengals minus 2.5. I think they should be able to cover the spread pretty easily. In terms of props, I'll probably be looking towards the Ramondre Stevenson receiving prop over. He's been one of the more consistent reception-based running backs over the past couple weeks, and he tends to see the ball pretty often. Another player that I like on the Patriots is Hunter Henry's receiving yards. Even though last week he didn't really see the ball that much, I think they can exploit the weak secondary of the Bengals. So give me the Bengals minus 2.5. I like the overs for Ramondre Stevenson receiving yards and the receiving yards for Hunter Henry. And for the show, we got to do this for Lou. We got to go with T motherfucking Higgins plus 160 anytime touchdown scorer. Lock that in. Next game up, we have the Houston Texans going against the Tennessee Titans. The Titans are 3-point favorites, and that might be surprising to a lot of people why this line isn't a little bit bigger. But if you've seen in the past 2 weeks, the Texans have actually been able to keep it close with some really good teams. Last week against the Chiefs and then the week before against the Cowboys, they've been really impressive, I must say. So I'm not going to be touching this game because for the sole fact that the Texans are looking really well. I understand that it's still the Texans at the end of the day, and they could only score 7 points the whole game. But based off of the recent history, I'm gonna have to lay off of this, or else I would have been all over the Titans here. So I can't really favor the matchup to either side. I think the Titans should be able to score pretty often. Let's see what that first half team total is looking like. Let's see. That's going to be a little bit more interesting for me. So first half team total, I don't think they have it up yet. If it's something around like 12.5, I would definitely consider it. If it's 13.5, probably not. But 12.5, yeah, I could definitely see it happening. But a key thing in this game is what's his name? Shoot. Ryan Tannehill is out. He's expected to be out for the rest of the season. So, backup quarterback, rookie. But we'll see how he performs. Next up, we have the Washington Commanders at the San Francisco 49ers. The 49ers are 7-point favorites. And you guys guessed it. The second part of the teaser is going to be the San Francisco 49ers. So we'll be taking the Niners at -1, and then the Bills are at -2.5 with a 6-point teaser. and I'm going pretty big on it. I do like the Niners in this matchup with extended rest. They have almost a week and a half of rest here, so huge rest advantage. Commanders, you don't know where they're at pretty much with that after that loss from the Giants last week, where their mental is because they have a very slim chance of making the playoffs now. So I think the Niners have all the uh, what's the word I'm looking for? All to play for here. They want to lock up that number one seed. They already clinched playoff berth. I like the Niners here a lot. Brock Purdy has been someone who I've been admiring in the league since his first start. He's very composed. You could tell that the guy is not one of those rookies that is very nervous when he's playing. He just seems calm, and that could be because of his long playing time at Iowa State. And the guy can sling. He could throw the ball. He's pretty accurate with it. And when you have the weapons that he has, man, it's deadly. Oh, we got to take this out of the chat. My hot photo here. Nice. My favorite website. But yeah, I'll be taking the Niners. And give me Christian McCaffrey's receiving yards over. I'll be taking that regardless of what the number is, as long as it's reasonable and it's within the boundaries of the last week. It's something that is almost automatic with Purdy because you just see him dumping the ball off to McCaffrey a lot, and McCaffrey's just been getting these chunk yards game in, game out. So give me the Niners in the teaser spot and give me McCaffrey on the receiving side. Another player that I wanted to talk about is going to be George Kittle. George Kittle has been the beneficiary of Brock Purdy coming under center here at quarterback, and his hit is over ever since. And it looks like Kittle is his favorite target besides McCaffrey. And at 43.5, I think this number is still a little bit too low. So give me Kittle here. He could probably do it in one catch, honestly. That's probably my favorite prop for the week, by the way. Next up, we have the Eagles going against the Cowboys. The Eagles are 5-point favorites. I'm sorry, 5-point underdogs, which might come to the surprise of a lot of people here. The Eagles are probably going to be without Jalen Hurts, even though he said that he can throw with his arm. He has some sort of shoulder injury. So they're expecting him not to start, and that's why the Cowboys are the favorites. And to be honest, this has a weird vibe to it. I'm not going to be playing this game. I just don't know what side to lean. I feel like it's one of those games where it's going to be Jalen Hurts is out all the way until an hour before the game, and it's like, oh, no, sorry, just kidding, he's in. It could be one of those games, even though they've already clinched. So I'm staying off of it. I love Pollard props regardless of who they're playing. But this is a pretty tough defense with the Eagles. So you never know how they can execute against the run, especially if the Cowboys are up and Jalen Hurts is out. I probably would want to stay away from this one altogether. So yeah, I'm pretty comfortable passing on this spot. Just not my my cup of tea per se. Next up, let me just load up these next couple games here. So next up, we got the Raiders at the Pittsburgh Steelers. The Raiders are the Raiders are 2-point underdogs, and I'm still curious to see Kenny Pickett's rumored to be back in this week, which is going to be a big boost for the Steelers. But this game is going to be slow. I expect both defenses to step up here, especially with both quarterbacks not playing as well in the past couple weeks. So one angle I'm going to be looking to target is probably unders. Even though it's under 38, I'm looking towards like team total unders, like the Pittsburgh team total under 19.5 might be a good look. Deontay Johnson under receiving yards is also another prop that I've been looking at, but let me see if they have those numbers out already. Nope. Unfortunately, they don't. So I would be looking towards the under for Deontay Johnson's receiving yards in this game. But as a spread pick, I'd probably be leaning towards the Raiders because I think they're going to be getting their weapons back at the +2. Doesn't sound too bad, but not all that convinced. So I'm going to have to lay off of it completely. Next up, we have the Green Bay Packers against the Miami Dolphins. The Dolphins are 3.5-point favorites. And this game, I mean, both teams need the wins. So I expect it to be a pretty high scoring game, in my opinion. I think the over 49.5 is pretty viable. I think if you take the over and you tease it with any of the sides, it's pretty good here. I'd probably favor the Packers side. You'll get them at 9.5, and then the over at 43.5. So that's where I would look personally. But one angle that I'm going to be looking and probably betting here is that team total, if I can get to it. Uh, First half team total for the Dolphins. I expect it to be 13.5 based off of how they've been playing. But they don't have that line out yet, which is weird. Team props. Here we go. Dolphins team total first half is over 13.5. Yeah. So I'm definitely going to be betting that. I think the Green Bay defense is decent, but Dolphins offense is pretty fast, and that's the one thing that the Green Bay Packers defense struggles with is fast-paced offense, especially with the chunk plays with Tyreek and Waddle. I think they can get over this in the first quarter, and it could be a really easy one of those stress-free first half team totals that we've been getting lately. So I'll be taking that as my only bet for this game. I'm leaning towards that teaser with the Packers and the over, but like I said, you can't go wrong with either team that you tease, either side. Not going to be an official though on my end. Next up, we have the Denver Broncos against the Los Angeles Rams. The Denver Broncos are 2.5 point favorites here. Baker Mayfield's still the quarterback. He's expected to be the starter all the way until the end of the season. And this game screams throw up to me again. There is nothing that I like on this game because realistically, who can you trust here? Ripien or Baker Mayfield? Yeah, I'm staying far away from this one, and I'll probably just watch it for enjoyment or just for my own suffering. If I want to really suffer and hurt my eyes, I will be watching this game. Uh, but yeah, don't bet this game, guys, please. It's backups on backups on backups, and I wouldn't feel too safe putting my money anywhere near this one. Let's see. So the next game we have on the board is going to be the Tampa Bay Buccaneers going against the Arizona Cardinals. I'm just going to load up all these games while we're at it because it's probably the best thing to do here. We have 2 games left. So yeah, Tampa Bay Buccaneers against the Arizona Cardinals. The Cardinals are 7.5 point underdogs here against the Buccaneers. Buccaneers are away from home, but for obvious reasons. I mean, the Cardinals are absolutely horrible. But the Buccaneers are not a team that I would trust with 7.5 points. I will probably be leaning towards the Cardinals side here, plus the points. You're getting over a touchdown, so that should cover. And I think just looking at the total here, it's a pretty low total at 39.5. We have a bunch of totals under 30, under 40 this week. So be careful, guys, when you're looking at overs and touchdown props. Just keep in mind of the game script that's expected. So I expect the Cardinals to keep it somewhat close. I think they can keep it within a touchdown and cover the spread. So I'll likely be taking the Cardinals in this matchup, maybe even teasing them with the over. So that would be 33.5, and then the spread will be 13.5. So not too bad. If you do want to buy the extra point, so you can get 14.5 across a key number, so 2 touchdowns, I fully support that too. In terms of props, Buccaneers receivers seem to be pretty spread out, so you don't have a one guy that's getting it consistently. But Devin White is someone that I've grown to like a lot lately. They don't have the props up yet, but his rushing yards against the Cardinals should be free money. So I'll just depending on the number, I'll have to take it. But next up and final game of the week, we have the Chargers against the Colts. The Colts are going to be 5 point underdogs here against the Chargers. And you know what? The Colts are impressing me on the defensive side lately. And the Chargers have impressed me a lot offensively. So it's a really tricky game to figure out when it comes to like betting the number. And 5 is just one of those weird numbers that you don't see all that often. 5 and 4 are pretty tricky to bet when it comes to the market. And I would say the Chargers, but I don't really trust them to lay 5. Even though the Chargers need this win to keep their playoff hopes alive, I would have to lean there. But do I want to bet it? Probably not. Colts defense, as we saw against the Vikings last week, was crazy until they just blew that huge lead. And what I fear is they're angry going into this game and they want to prove a point. So, and especially it's at home. Uh, if I were to play anything, it would have to be the Chargers, but I'm not counting out the Colts here. So I would likely not bet it. Just if whenever I'm feeling that little bit of doubt, I'm safer to just not put my money there. Guys, you don't have to bet on every game. Just getting into like the betting philosophy side of things, you don't have to bet on every game every day. You don't have to bet every day. It's something that to practice when it comes to bankroll management is that willpower to say no and not take any bet that you see because just for the sake of betting, for the fun of it, for the thrill. Because that's how we all start as bettors. We start betting for that little adrenaline rush, to make the games a little bit more interesting, and I get it. But then when you want to take this a little bit more seriously and make some money in the long term, you're probably gonna want to stop betting volume unless that is what you are trying to focus on. When if you're trying to bet volume with lower amounts, that's a different story. That's only if you're betting based on plus EV. And if you're betting plus EV, that's the strategy, bet volume. But if you're betting based off of game script and based off of projections, then you probably want to lay off of some games and probably stick with just 3 to 4 bets on a big slate like NFL usually is. Basketball, as you guys have seen me on Twitter lately, it's literally like 1 or 2 games a day, if that. Lately, it's just been one and sometimes none. So just know your spots, pick and choose your spots, or else it's gonna be hard in the long run if you're just betting based on the adrenaline rush. Uh, you shouldn't bet every game every day, but you should bet every day. That's funny. But all right, guys, that's the last game of the week. Once again, thank you so much for watching week in and week out. Thank you for the support. If you haven't already, please like, comment, and subscribe. It helps out a lot. And yeah, unfortunately, Lou wasn't able to make it to this show, but I'll make sure that I'm able to get him back on here during the weekend before the games, or if I can have him post his stuff and his projections before the games, then so that way you can get the second side of the story as you usually do week in and week out. But for now, thank you so much for watching and enjoy your guys' night.